Will the Steam frame be destroying the MetaQuest 3? Let's find out. If you're new to the channel, my name is Lucas, I'm a mechatronics engineer, and I've had a MetaQuest device since the first generation, back when it was named Oculus instead of Meta. First, I'm going to cover what the MetaQuest 3 has an advantage over the Steam frame. Meta has absolutely been pushing for AAA VR games for quite a while now, and that also means that the MetaQuest 3 has some really good exclusive games. To list a couple, Asgard's Wrath 2. Personally, I haven't played that one, but people say it's really good. Batman Arkham Shadow. That one I played and I loved it. It was incredible. And there's another recent one that I was quite looking forward to, which is the Deadpool VR game. It's not being as well received as a Batman game, but still receiving pretty high scores in the MetaQuest store. They have a bunch of other exclusive games, but I would say that these are the main ones, you know. Another advantage that the Quest 3 has over the Steam frame is that it has color pass-through cameras. And that also means that it has a bunch of mixed reality experiences and games, which would be quite lacking in the Steam frame since it only has black and white pass-through. For example, I'm really looking forward to testing out the laser dance one, which is kind of like Mission Impossible, where you have to dodge a bunch of lasers in your room. I would also like to highlight that the Quest 3 was released in 2023 and the Steam frame will be released in 2026. So there is almost 3 years of difference between them. So what are the advantages that the Steam frame has over the Quest 3? These are not listed in any particular order, by the way. So one huge advantage from my point of view is that the Steam frame is going to use SteamOS. And SteamOS is based on Linux and is an open platform. So you'll be able to install pretty much anything you want there. And that also means that you'll be able to play your flat screen Steam games on your headset with no problems at all. This one will still have to confirm once the headset is launched, but it really sounds like comfort is going to be a huge win for the Steam frame. Mostly because the battery is located on the back of the head strap, so it really balances out the computer in the front. There are additional battery packs that are located in the back of the head strap for the Quest 3, but those are accessories. Another thing that the Steam frame has that the Meta Quest 3 doesn't is that it has eye tracking. If I'm not mistaken, the Quest Pro had eye tracking, but on top of that, Valve is doing something really interesting here, which is when you're streaming games from your PC, they are doing what they are calling foveated streaming. So they use eye tracking to check where you're looking at, and they will send to your headset that specific part of the image with a higher resolution, and so it's saving some bandwidth there. And the Quest 3 can really do that because it doesn't have eye tracking. The Quest Pro might be able to do it. They said that this won't be exclusive to the Steam frame. So let's see. The Steam frame can also track itself and the controls in complete darkness because it has an infrared light emitter. And in the past, I've seen a lot of people doing kind of hacks for the Quest 3 because they would place like an infrared light close to them, and then they would be able to play games in complete darkness. But in the case of the Steam frame, that light is already embedded in the headset. Valve has mentioned that the Steam frame is a streaming first headset, so they really worked on making the streaming experience as best as they can. And one part of that is that the headset already comes with a dongle, kind of like a Wi-Fi 6 dongle. And that dongle is meant to be used exclusively with PC VR games streaming to your Steam frame. You can stream PC VR games to Quest 3 using your regular router or connecting it via cable. Or there's also a pretty similar dongle for Quest 3 by D-Link. It's called VR AirBridge. But again, it's an accessory and it costs extra $99 for that, while the Steam frames one come in the box. And also the reviews for the VR AirLink were pretty mixed, so I'm not sure if the product actually worked well, you know. As I mentioned when I talked about the operating system, the Steam frame can play your Steam library, but that also means that the controllers are optimized, like the buttons and the placement and etc., to make it easy to play your flat screen games in VR. You can play flat screen games on the Quest, but since the controllers weren't really designed for that, it can be a bit finicky. Okay, so the next one is huge for me. The Steam frame has a micro SD card slot. And what does that mean? It sounds like the only difference between the different versions of the Steam Frame so far will be the storage space. And the fact that they have an SD card slot, it means that you can buy the cheapest version and just buy an additional SD card and get more storage than the more expensive version, you know? And that's something that always annoyed me about the Quest, is that it didn't have expandable storage. And not only the microSD slot like enables storage expansion, but you can also like remove the SD card from your Steam Deck, plug it into your Steam Frame, and you already have there all of the games and etc. And since it's the same operating system, you should be able to play them as if nothing happened. The Steam Frame will have 16 gigabytes of memory, while the Quest 3 only has 8. That should lead to a smoother overall experience. Let's see. Last but not least, something that we actually don't know yet what it will be used for. The Steam Frame has a PCIe expansion port that is pretty accessible. People are speculating online that it might be used to add another camera, possibly a color camera to enable color pass-through. But again, that's just speculation. We don't actually know what's coming for that expansion port. So I've already mentioned pretty much everything that's different between the headsets, and now we're just going to cover quickly what's similar between them, okay? So the video experience is pretty similar. The displays have the same resolution, the lenses are both pancake lenses, they both have the same field of view, which is very important for VR. Something that we aren't really sure, but we will know once we test it ourselves. But it's like very likely that will be pretty similar, is the audio experience. So both headsets, the audio is kind of embedded. So I'm guessing the audio experience will be pretty similar as well. And last but not least, the battery size is similar. But regarding like battery life, we'll have to see once the Steam Frame launches. It sounds like the controllers will have more or less the same battery life, because Valve mentioned 40 hours on a single AA battery. But for the headset itself, it's hard to tell. I'm guessing when the Steam Frame is streaming PC VR games, it will use less battery than when it's standalone play, but we don't know for sure how long that will last. Personally speaking, I wouldn't even blink, I would just get myself a Steam Frame, especially because I really like Valve's approach to things. I love my Steam Deck, and their approach to VR sounds like pretty much the same. The thing that we don't know yet, but could really tip this scale, is the price. Because Valve hasn't announced yet what the price for the Steam Frame will be. If it's much more expensive than the Quest 3, then it probably still won't like destroy the competition. But they did mention that the price is going to be lower than the Valve Index, but that was $1,000 at the time, which is still quite far from the Quest 3's price. And Meta also has the 3S on sale, which is even cheaper. Although like the 3S has a lot of other like disadvantages when compared to the 3 and the Steam Frame. But yeah, I guess that's it for today. Let me know in the comments which headset do you prefer. What are your guesses for the price of the Steam Frame as well? I would like to know. But yeah, that's it. See you guys next time.